getting ready. They're in lobby. They're just trying to make sure they get a few more things sorted and figure out. But once they're in, once they're set, we will be off to the races in our first semifinal match of the day. And honestly, I'm excited. It looks like there we go. We're into the draft, and let's get going. We're finally up to it. We're on the map, and let's take a look. So, coming out the gate, preseason, new champions getting banned out the gate. Renata Glass off the table pretty much from them. And you got, I mean, I think a very strong support, right? We've seen in the recent days completely makes sense why they want to just take her off the table.
Yeah, and something that I want to mention in the draft, a very important thing that the coach is partially responsible for is this idea of what we call a flex pick. Some champions we like to consider as a jack of all trades. They're not stuck to one position. They can actually go into a multitude of places, and because of that, you know, in the draft, now the other team has to assume it's going somewhere, and they have to be able to counter that, right? So flex picks, I think, are going to be very important. The bans coming out here, we're seeing a lot of priority into that lane that usually has two people. We call that the bottom lane. We usually compose it of a super carry and a supportive character, like you said, that Renata Glass. But we're also seeing a lot of focus in these bruisers and juggernauts, the ones that are really beefy but can still dish out a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. As now we're seeing it going through Ophelia's set, like we talked about, Renata, Aurelia, but I think a lot of new characters we're just seeing off of the bans right now, with the Belveth getting taken off the table. I mean, a lot of just new characters. And then, of course, rounded out with an oldie but goodie, right? The Lux getting taken off. So, all right. I think this has got to be, right? It's always interesting to me because when you're not at the top level of competition, right? We're not at pro play, we're not at collegiate, we're not at amateur, you're not seeing bans that are targeted towards what we would call the meta, aka the, you know, the best possible champions for the whatever patch we're on. Instead, it's a lot of targeted focus, right? You want to make sure that players on the other side don't get to play what they're comfortable with or what they're familiar with. So it's always interesting to see how much homework teams have done about what the other team plays, what are their, you know, what are they strong on, what are they weak on. But anyways, looking at it now, first pick, Hecarim. So HBA chooses to use the Hecarim as their first pick. And honestly, in the preseason patch, I feel like he's been really strong.
Very, very strong. I think one of the best picks here. Like you said, you want to try to make the other team as uncomfortable as possible with the picks that with the bands that you choose, so then you kind of pincer down that pool. But I think Hecarim is kind of the best thing you can kind of come out with that super first pick that we were talking about that blue side gets. But, you know, on the opposite side, we have a little bit of Occam's Razor. Simplicity does it with the Garen, but also in his ear. So a little bit of an identity crisis there.
I mean, it really is kind of a difference of what is some of the straightforward characters, I think we would say, right? With Garen, it's not a lot of high mechanical skill, right? It's a lot more game knowledge, knowing how and when to use your abilities, and, you know, when is a good time to push you, right? When is a good time to push push the buttons on your different abilities. Whereas somebody like Azir, it is something where, you know, you have to know exactly the timing of all of your skills, right? They're very complex. They're very unique. You need to be able to just do everything and use it, with maximum efficiency. As we actually, okay, so we have been told there is a special system here within Vanta and the way that they also do their bans, where they don't go 5 bans. It's only the 3 at the beginning, and then 2 at the end. The 2 at the end, they don't ban, so that's all it is. So it's the old school draft system.
All right, so that leaves a lot of flexibility, you know. 10 champions as opposed to 6 is a really big difference, and we can already see here the super carriers on either side have been decided. They're going to choose some really long-range characters, kind of keep that distance, as we've noticed this super carry kind of class has been very fragile in the preseason, and because of that, you know, if you keep your distance, the likelihood of you getting absolutely charged at is a lot lower. But with that in mind, you know, there's also there's 2 types of damage in League of Legends, right? There's the physical damage. You can kind of think of it like, you know, like punches and like bullets, etc. And then because League of Legends is such a wonderful game, there's also magic damage in the form of wizards, in the form of mystical creatures, and so those have also been decided on both sides. We get to see what the damage output is going to be like already, and now it's a matter of, do we want a healer? Do we want a tank? What do we want to round out this composition so then it's not just super focused on one thing, but rather we can work as a team in order to succeed and achieve better results?
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely something to think about, something to keep the eyes on, because, like you say, yeah, really trying to figure out how do you want to balance out, how do you want to even out a composition. We've seen most of the time, right, in previous years, the idea of going in all AD, right, all physical damage competition or composition, being a bad idea, right? It's easily countered, right? You can just pick certain characters that have a lot of what we would call armor, meaning that, you know, physical damage just kind of almost bounces off of them, right? Imagine it like a knight in a suit of armor, right? A little sword, that's why the swords don't, you know, go through or they scrape off, right? Whereas on the other side, AP carries, right? Ability power, magic dealers, there is a stat for them called magic resist, right? How resistant are you towards magic? So as we're seeing here, I mean, overall, fairly balanced. Nobody, I think, too tanky as we do round out the rest of the draft. And it looks like we're on the Rift, and here we go. Game number 1 between Hawaii Baptist Academy and New Valley Middle School. All right, here we go.
Yeah, and something that I want to point out, you were talking about the Hecarim running into the enemy team. Speed is actually a very important statistic that happens in the game of League of Legends. And one of the things that I want to emphasize on is that Mordekaiser that HBA has decided to pick up, because Mordekaiser's ultimate, for those that don't know, he challenges a specific person onto the enemy team and puts them into a 1v1 arena. If you look on the side of New Valley Middle School, there's a lot of characters that can't move very quickly. And so if you're put in that 1v1 situation, more likely than not, you could end up dead. And that ends up becoming a 5v4 team fight for the rest of the game. So team fights are going to have to be a little iffy on the side of New Valley, but we're going to have to see how it works out. Like we said, both bot lanes, the 2v2 on that bottom side of the map that you're going to see, they're very, very long range, meaning you're not going to see a lot of, let's say, all-ins, but you're going to see a lot of damage trade back and forth.
Yeah, and that's, I think, something to keep your eye on as we go across the board. But so far, it looks like it is just going to be a mirrored start, meaning that both of the junglers are going to start off with support from their bottom lanes. They're going to start on the blue buff, a standard and an expected start. But as we move forward, we'll see how they change as we go forward.
As we get forward, indeed. So you can see it's kind of weird. Why are there 3 people helping out the jungler? It's because at level 1, the jungler is a little weaker than the other champions and so cannot defeat this mini boss going on right there. So we call that a little bit of a leash. Help them out with their first monster so then they can get the ball rolling. But the other lanes, as you can see on this top side, it's already going strong. A little bit of trading back and forth. The Mordekaiser getting that priority into the lane, meaning it's pushing up, forcing the Garen to retreat closer and closer towards the safety of his own tower. In the bot side, like we said, that damage trade, that's going to be happening.
Yeah, so damage trade, farm trade, we'll see how these kids and how the students are able to really figure out this laning phase, right, and navigate it. I'm curious to see how good the mechanics are, how much of the farm they're able to keep. As a relative stat, if you're looking at that middle scoreboard, the numbers next to each of the characters' portraits, that number in yellow, that is what we would call their CS, their creep score, the number of minions that they have slain as their characters. It translates directly to how much income, how much gold each character, each of these players gets to spend on items, on things that makes them stronger. So it is something to keep your eye on and really watch as towards the professional scene. If you're on the higher end, you would expect to see a creep score. Whoa! As we actually go down to the bot lane, it is an immediate flash out. It looks like it was a lot of poke damage that lands onto Wrath there on the Jane, and unfortunately he has to back it up.
It's a little bit unfortunate. We were talking about how dangerous the poke can be, but it looked like the Jin was very far ahead, way ahead of the Xerath, his supporting character there. So because of that, you know, has to expend both summoners, meaning there's no heal and there's no get out of jail card now for the Jin moving forward for about the next 3 to 5 minutes. So you're going to have to play a little bit safer, but you definitely don't want to be the first character dead ever, because that gives a big bonus gold to the person that decides to kill you, and that could mean faster items, that could mean more purchases, and that could snowball into a really big effect later on into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. More gold, more items, more power is really what it all translates to. And I think smartly enough, it looks like there is the Mordekaiser on the top side. He is just going to have to back up and wait for a little bit, knowing that, okay, they figured that the Lilia was coming up for the gank, but instead, it seems like ICB just kind of goes for the mid lane gank, doesn't quite get anything, doesn't get anything done there, but a lot of time wasted from both sides.
And you're seeing this, the first glimpse of it, the jungler, the person that is going to be moving around these lanes, not necessarily designated anywhere, going to start affecting these lanes. You saw the Lily coming up top, forcing the Mordekaiser to fall back a little bit. You saw the same thing with ICB on the Hecarim, pushing Crystallized a little bit back towards their tower. So the jungler's job is to kind of be a wild card and make sure that you're not always super comfortable just farming it up, just getting these minions, but really you're on your toes here. You want to be on high alert. You want to have good vision to make sure that you can see this jungler coming in so that you don't get a detrimental change to your lane that could really shake up what you were doing and what you've been building up to.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's going to be somebody to keep your eyes on. That is, like you said, the wild card, something to watch if you want to go forward. But now as we're seeing it down in the bottom side, I think let's talk through this a little bit. The oppression that comes forward from a Xerath Jhin lane that we're seeing here, as actually ICB on the flank, looking for the damage, gets the slow, there's the net, 90 caliber is there, and Incline Wrath goes down. It's a first blood for ICB.
First blood for that top tier pick. Hecarim already has the Vampiric Scepter, going to be building one of the most broken items in the preseason. That Ravenous Hydra and that 400 gold Stimulus is definitely going to drive that goal a little closer, a little sooner. We were talking about Jhin not having flash, had to burn it earlier, lived by the skin of his teeth, and then kind of just repeated it.
Yeah, it does kind of just get taken out. And honestly, speaks to the point I was making right before that started out, right? The aggression, but also the poke coming out from the bottom lane of New Valley makes it so difficult for the other side of Dry Puffin and Cypher to really get in there and farm. We're starting to see it now. It wasn't that Dry Puffin was missing a lot of CS. He was getting pressured off the wave, right? The Jhin and the Xerath there on the bottom side. Honu Warrior doing a great job as a Xerath, putting the poke down and making it so that they have to respect these ranges. And when stuns like that come out, oh no, he's going to get rooted up. The damage is there. It doesn't have to yet. Forces the flash out. They're going to try to flash back in exchange. Auto attack is there. Honu Warrior picks it up. And now Dry Puffin has to back it up. He doesn't have a support. He knows he's out of there.
An excellent trade back. Now 1-for-1 onto the scoreboard. We were talking about the element of speed and how it's very important here, given that both junglers are very fast characters, but all four characters in the bottom lane, they're not that fast. You can see as soon as you get caught out, it's pretty much a death sentence for you, and we saw it there. Normally supports don't want to get the kills because kills come with gold, but Honu Warrior is picking what can be a very damaging character. We were talking about the team profiles. New Valley picked a very damage-centric bot lane, and because of that, it doesn't really matter whether the Jhin or the Xerath gets the gold. Either one is going to pack a punch later on.
Oh, wait, they might actually go for this. So a concept in League of Legends we talk about is called lane priority, meaning does the bottom lane or do the lanes have the minions pushed up in a way where they can safely go without losing any gold. This could be a big fight here as ICB comes in, gets big damage onto 3. Seraphine damage is there. They're going to try to turn. They will drop Honu Warrior first. Wrath on the right side has to flash back. He's very low. Cypher on the left trying to just get the secure onto Lilia, but not able to finish it out as Turtle does get out of there as well. The Azir gets rooted up, stunned up. Ignite is there. Not going to be able to follow. One more auto attack will get bold. Oh no! Crystallize has to get out of there as well. That was a huge damage. That was trade. You thought the Azir would have died there, and actually because of that, HBA, they get to pick up the dragon as well.
Disaster for New Valley Middle School. The dragon didn't reset in aggro, so all HBA had to do was take it down from 3k HP. Lilia not suspecting the chase from the Seraphine and just piling on this aggression, and now Crystallize kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If this wave pushes in, this could be another kill, but no. The Seraphine falls back. That's just going to be it. 3-1 is the scoreboard.
Yeah, 3-1, just a barely a little bit more of a gold lead over onto the side, but oh no, ICB gets slowed up. That's going to be some extra damage. There's the root, damages across. Wrath has to back it up now, but instead it looks like he's going to just try to fight it out. They know they're in a rough spot, needs to get autos down, not able to do it. Now this puts Honu Warrior in a rough spot as well. They thought they were going to be able to get the lane shove because of the previous team fight, but instead HBA just rotates down to the bottom lane, picks up another kill, and puts themselves in a further gold lead.
You cannot underestimate how fastly ICB is going to walk around the map. He is a galloping horse and is going to charge you down if necessary.
No, yeah, I mean, if I could do the horse Winnie, that's exactly what I'd be doing right now, because, I mean, that guy is doing so much work for the side of HBA. I mean, obviously, the 2-0-1 scoreline speaks to, I think, how much kill participation he has on the map and just his ability to exert pressure down and across everywhere so far. I mean, honestly, I don't even blame the bottom side from New Valley there. That's not their fault necessarily. You would think because of back timings, because of what you would expect the other team to do, that they'd have all of the time in the world to push that lane up to the turret and then back up, right? Then buy a few more items, try to catch themselves up in some items and combat stats and move forward that way. But instead, no. HBA says, you know what? Free gold, right? They go for the kills, they go for the damage, they find it, they get another 2, and now instead of it just being a 100, 200 gold lead, we're looking at a solid 1,000 and is growing from there.
Now let's take a breather and look at the entire map. We've been seeing a lot of action only in the bottom lane. Let's talk about the top lane and the mid lane for a little bit. If you can see right there, 58 to 87, there is a lot more minions that the Garen has killed as opposed to the Mordekaiser. And like you said, that translates to money. So there is an advantage going on in New Valley's top side, and the jungle mid have been pretty stable. They've been keeping up with the farm, they've been keeping up with pressure on the map, and so now what you want to do if you're New Valley and you're on the back foot, stem the bleeding on the bot side, play a little further back if you have to, just to make sure that that Hecarim cannot just trample over you anymore, and kind of let this top side and mid side scale a little bit more. You can see the Lilia trying to play an effect into the mid lane, but not going to get much done there.
Yeah, not going to be much there. I mean, knowing that they don't have range, but instead, here comes ICB. What was that? Big damage onto him. Turtle's trying to turn this around, but gets stunned up by the Event Horizon. It's a double kill for the blue side. HBA starting to pull ahead of it, knowing that they've got the damage. Now on the bottom side, Curtain Call goes up, and it forces the flashes. You can see it, the Wrath, Jin trying to do his best to turn this background in their favor on the bottom side. It's a rough start. It's a good lead. But can HBA keep up the pressure?
Oh, it was definitely curtains for 3 members of New Valley. The bot side lost, the mid jungle lost. I mean, Caster Curse. Just talked about them, immediately died right after. That one's on me, you know, but you could see Dry Puffin and Cypher, they were very, very low at the end of that fight. Our observer got to witness that, and the curtain call just out of range. Otherwise, definitely one casualty falling on the side of Hawaii Baptist Academy. But even though Jin is 2 deaths down and so is Xerath, they can still pack a punch against this lane. Like we were talking about, they have more yellow number. The yellow number is higher, meaning they have more minions killed, meaning they have more gold. So even though they've died a couple of times, they're keeping up in that economy department, and that's super important.
Yeah, it really is, and now we're seeing it here, right? I like the call here from New Valley, knowing that they need to find ways back into this map or into this game. They've got the lane priority up in the top side like we talked about earlier. It means they just get to secure the Rift Herald here. A neutral objective that could get them a little bit more gold. They've only got a minute to use it though to really maximize and capitalize on how much extra gold they can get by dropping it with the use of turret plates that only came out a few years ago, but now, as it looks like, instead, they are just going to back it up, and actually big damage onto Incline, or Insane Wrath, is now he's got to back it up. Cypher and Dry Puffin trying to move around the backside, but overall, not much else doing. No ultimate available, right? The Encore from Cypher not up yet, so they're not going to try to go for it.
I think if the choice were up to me, I would put that Rift Herald on the top side. The Garen is very, very ahead of the Mordekaiser right now, and it's kind of the only lane that hasn't shown a sign of weakness for the time being. If you could get that Garen a lot further ahead and start snowballing that effect, you're going to hear that word a lot throughout the series, snowballing. It's just keep piling on that aggression like you're talking about, keep piling on that lead so then you can get a higher advantage. It looks like the Rift Herald is going to go bot, but once the 14 minutes go by, you're not going to get any bonus gold for taking turrets lower and lower. But hold on.
Okay. Encore burn. And doesn't end up getting anything from there. But now with the Rift Herald going up against the turret, ICB wants to go and finds the damage out the turtle. That's massive. But the flash out, the stun as well from Honu to keep his jungler alive. They will get the turret damage. But at the end of the day, it's a summoner burn, and ICB, he's looking super strong.
Yep, fallen out of range, so there's no Caitlyn ult to be chasing the kill potentially, but that was a very crucial stun by Honu Warrior, landing it onto ICB, preventing the kill from happening, and Turtle will stay alive. Turtle helping out Turtle over there, you know? Looking out for his homies, but like we were talking about, stemming that bleeding, getting that turret lower. Nothing really lost on the side of New Valley, and so you got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it costs them a flash. They don't lose too much more from that. But, I mean, let's look at the greater scheme of the play here because, right, you could tell that the idea from New Valley there was drop the Rift Herald, push the wave in, try to get some turret damage down if you can, and then rotate over to the Dragon. They don't end up doing that because ICB is able to just get that much damage down. Waiting in the wings, he goes forward. And now, 2 Drakes for the side of Hawaii Baptist Academy. The other side, New Valley, now looking at an Infernal Rift, which, with the way that some of these characters are building their items on HBA, could be very, very dangerous with an Infernal Soul.
Yeah, so let's take a little bit of a moment to talk about it. Oh, actually, top lane going through a skirmish. I think the Mordekaiser will be fine. He's going back to his turret. But let's talk a little bit about these dragons so that the audience back at home can understand what's happening here. So each dragon corresponds to a specific statistic in the League of Legends game. You can see that rhombus looking one, we call that the Hextech Dragon. That gives you more attack speed and faster cooldown so you can shoot out more abilities. The mountain one, as you can expect, like mountains are very sturdy, so you get bonus resistances. But the one of the focus, the infernal one that is going to be appearing from here on out until one team gets 4 dragons, as you can expect, fire damage, so you're going to do a lot more damage with each Infernal Dragon that you get. Like we were highlighting, the Hecarim that is really ahead, getting more damage could get dangerous, but...
Whoa, big damage there from Cypher and Dry Puffin as they get more and more damage out. I mean, this time now, Curtain Call goes up. Cypher has to flash once again, but now puts himself in range to maybe root up, but instead, no. He doesn't quite find it there, but constant fighting, constant skirmishing here down in the bot side.
Constant. Got to keep it up. Got to make sure that the Jhin and the Xerath have no room to breathe and calm down, recollect their minds. But Turtle trying to make a play here onto the Vigar. Could potentially check into it, but shows up the cage.
Event Horizon is there. They're going to put him to sleep with this Lullaby, but instead not able to get it. They were looking for a Shurima Shuffle there, but Crystallized not able to get there.
Yeah, not only that, Crystallized so low already, could just immediately die to that Vigar ultimate. So don't want to give away another kill here. If it didn't work out, just walk away, try again in a little bit. You can see the scoreline hasn't really changed too much. The bot lane the bot lane hasn't been dying too frequently now. You know, they've slowed down the pace. They've just been farming it out. You can see this creep score lead in the top side and that bottom side, 40 plus now. In that top lane, almost 60.
Yep. I mean, I think let's just take a look at that, right? I mean, look at the top of your screen. If you look to the left and right immediate side of the large numbers, as we do see a kill in mid lane from Mokazu on to Crystallized there. But if you're looking at the gold lead, 26.2 thousand gold on the side of HBA across the whole team, 24.3 thousand for the side of New Valley. And honestly, actually, hold on. We'll hold that thought as now ICB goes over a ward, wanted to go in here, will be forced back. So let me finish my point right now. But the idea being that 9-1 on the board, you'd think that that'd be a larger gold lead. But in fact, New Valley's still in this because of, I think, the great mechanics, the CS numbers, the farm numbers on the top laner and the bottom laner in the sides of Grooves. I'm going to assume that's how you say that. I apologize if we're saying it wrong. Grooves and Insane Wrath, they are doing absolutely work to build themselves that CS lead, to build themselves the gold, to keep this pretty close.
Pretty close. And with these, with the gold being spent, you're going to start seeing what we call mythic items. They're the ones with a little orange border around them. They're going to be essentially build the core of your entire build, right? They're going to define how you're going to be in that playstyle, but the top laners are fighting it out.
Yeah, fighting within the Mordekaiser ultimate, looking for it here, but now Crystallized on the side. He has to back it up. The Mordekaiser not in a good spot. The Claw not going to pull him back for now. Gru wants to chase this down, but he can't quite get around the wall. Now he does, but he is on the wrong side of the map. Crystallized going to chase him down. Gru wants to chase him through the turret, but instead it looks like Mordekaiser is just going to have to back it up and go to the top side for now. It should mean a Rift Herald, but if ICB is feeling like he's got this one in the bag, he might be able to go in now. We're looking for it now, and instead it looks like no. They're going to say, yep, we know we don't have the numbers. We know we don't have the ability to finish this fight. And actually, they just barely secure the Rift Herald before it despawns.
I was going to say, the Rift Herald disappears at 19 minutes and 55 seconds. They finished it just 3 seconds before that happened. And so they do get to secure it. They get a second Rift Herald. It does the same thing like the first Herald, but this one actually has a lot more health. And the charging power to the Rift Herald correlates with the amount of health it has, meaning you're going to get a much bigger charge. Going to be putting it in the middle lane, but it has to be within range of the charge, and that minion wave might just stop it from happening. You can see the Vigar zoning it out, but now New Valley Middle School, they're going to be starting up this dragon. They want those offensive statistics.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to force themselves into a team fight once again. It is a little bit split. ICB goes in, dives into the back, but the shuffle back out. Emperor's Divide means he can't get back into the fight as easily. Holy Warrior will drop first. Insane drops as well in exchange. It's a complete wash. It's a complete wipe. HBA sweeps in, and they pick up all of it.
They were hoping the Rift Herald was enough to distract HBA from charging in, but it just was not enough. The Onslaught of Shadows negated by the Azir wall, but it was just not enough. Auto zoning was not enough. End of sentence.
Yeah, I mean, the damage output from ICB. I mean, the fact that he's able to get the Onslaught of Shadows, right? He goes unstoppable. There was almost nothing Crystallized could have done to stop that play, even if he had put the wall up first, because of the fact that ICB can just get around it on the initial ultimate. The timing on there is what you need to watch on, and it was just perfectly in favor of HBA. And honestly, it didn't even require a lot of effort from the bottom lane. They were there to support the fight, but honestly, just the amount of damage that the Hecarim is putting out, it made it so that they were there to secure the fight, but not necessarily that was the big playmaking reason when the pinch came in.
Yep, and now here we are. 12-1 is that scoreboard. Like we were saying, the gold lead, not as much as you would think for some team with 12 kills. It's just shy of 3,000. Meaning one entire item spread across the entire team. That's not that much. In fact, you can see that the Garen very ahead, but the Lilia...
Turtle. No, oh no, that wrong neighborhood, buddy, as he does go down there, unfortunately. I mean, normally you think that's a... Oh, are they starting Baron? Okay. Oh, they are.
Oh, they are.
Okay. All right. Well, keep your eyes on it. For those of you at home who are watching, this is the largest neutral objective on the map, second only to the Elder Dragon, which hasn't even spawned yet, that can't spawn yet at all. And it looks like this is the call from the side of Hawaii Baptist Academy to push their lead even further, to extend that gap. They will secure themselves Baron Nashor. However, first brick, the first turret, will go over to New Valley. But yes, HBA takes down a major objective.
I didn't even realize first tower didn't fall yet. It is 23 minutes into the game. That is a very big anomaly. But one tower falls in the mid lane, one tower falls on the bottom lane, so you're seeing that a lot of gold is being traded back. I was going to talk about how the Garen is able to push on his own, given how ahead he is of the Mordekaiser, but now, with those Baroned up minions, it's going to be a lot tougher. I mean, granted, I think the Garen can still beat out the Mordekaiser in a 1v1, but it's going to be a lot harder to push against those waves.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm really curious to see what happens as this game plays out, right? Because we have not seen what kind of impact Grooves, hold on, I'm trying to read his name, Grooves XB4 is really able to exert on a team fight, right? He hasn't been involved. He's been really just extending this 1v1 lead in the top side. But once he gets involved in the fights, we'll see how that affects this gameplay. Because although Garen, not necessarily a high-pressure top lane, right? He's not a duelist. Oh, yep, as we say
There it is.
Picks up the kill on the top lane. As we're mentioning it, now they're trying to extend that lead, try to take down that turret. But in the team fight, can he put pressure on that core 3 bottom side of HBA, right? On the Veigar, of the Caitlyn, of the Seraphine. Can he make it so it's hard for them to do what they want to do? Is now Mokuzu wants to get this turret and then look for the fight. Goes some damage down. Event Horizon forces the flash out, and that means the rest of them, yeah, they're just going to get out of dodge. The rest of the team from New Valley's up on the top side. They take that down. They've got the turret. They're slowly trying to close the gold gap, and with objective bounties up, every one of those turrets is worth an extra bit of gold.
And that is going to be proving... Oh, hold on!
Mokuzu, yeah, once he lands that cage, it's over. You're in a world of hurt.
You can see Grooves and Turtle, they're kind of loitering around, hoping to see if they can get a catch. That's going to be the big jump onto the Seraphine.
Yeah, Cypher forces it down, does get taken out by the burn from the Lilia, and now Dry Puffin has to get out of here. Chase down, there goes the trap, but ends up auto-attacking his one way out. The Blast Cone means he's in trouble. Crystallize is here to pick up the damage. No, they're going to give it over the Grooves, and now that means it is 14-4, but that gold lead keeps closing back down a little bit.
They're getting so much out of it, and all of it is going to that Garen that is so fed, has the objective bounty under his pocket, and we were talking about this Garen being the one avenue for New Valley to get back into this game. He is so strong now, and look at this, just in the wake of the Inferno Dragon potentially spawning, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a 5v4.
Oh, no. Mokuzu didn't mean to go over the wall, has to force his flash back over. That's not where he wanted to be. Grooves was waiting there for that trade, but now all 5 members grouped up. They know they need this dragon. They know that they have to take the Inferno Drake here. If they give it over, if ICB can pull off the steal, it is going to be a bad time, but there it is. Objective bounty claimed. They get it, and now the gap continues to close. It's stats, it's gold, it's everything they want.
Lo and behold, I believe the Baron has worn out. This has been a negative Baron power play, meaning the team that got that Baron did not gain any money from it. They lost money on the map. They lost 1 tower, they lost 1 dragon, both of which had extra money on it because the enemy team was behind. And now Hawaii Baptist Academy, they're a little bit on that back pedal now.
Yeah, pressure and tempo starting to slow down, and worth noting, right, as we talk about it here, when you go this damage build from Hecarim, you do fall off towards the late game, right? There's a concept known as scaling, for those of you watching at home, where as the game goes on, certain champions get stronger, other champions, they are stronger in the beginning, and then they become weaker as time goes on, right? That's just the way that the game is balanced with the numbers and the way that as these champions gain levels, right? As everybody gains levels, experience, and gold, some of them have better scaling, some of them have better stats that they kind of factor into these things as, oh no, Honu Warrior needs to get out of here. Does get the stun down. That's critical. That should get him out. Dry Puffin wants to get more, but instead forced back over. But to finish that point, if you're on the side of New Valley, yes, your Garen maybe doesn't necessarily scale as well, but on the mid and the bot side, Azir, Jhin, 2 incredibly great scaling champions for the game to progress on.
And this top lane on the side of New Valley keeps getting stronger and stronger. Turtle helping out his boy. And now, you're kind of worried if you're on the side of Hawaii Baptist Academy. Yes, you can keep pushing these advantages on the bot side, on the mid lane, but if this Garen is encroaching into your area, you start getting a little bit worried. Veigar
Yeah, they find Mokuzu in the bush, and now it looks like it's actually going to force a team fight. Drive Puffin gets pushed back from the Emperor's Divide. Here comes ICB. Can he 1v4 in the back? He's got 1, 2 grooves in a one-on-one now. They're trying to help from the backside, but instead they're now having to deal with the Hecarim. He's back in there. It's a double kill. Make it a triple kill. Can he go for more? Turtle needs to get out of there now, but ICB pops the ghost, and he's going to try to chase this down. Horse versus Deer, but instead, no. He gets over through the base gate, and he gets out of there. But that was nearly a pentakill turnaround from ICB.
Oh my goodness. I was really looking forward to that horse sound if you could make it, because that would have been the perfect opportunity for it, but unfortunate. ICB very happy with that play and now has completed the tier item to stack it up now. Going to get a lot stronger, trying their best to stay relevant into this game. And you could kind of see the idea that HBA is going for. Yeah, your Garen is really fed. We'll play around the Garen. We'll jump your Jhin. We'll jump your Xerath. Your damage will disappear. Speaking of disappear, Veigar.
Oh, Veigar in a world of trouble. Was too far forward. Was trying to just shove out the lane, but it's a shutdown that goes over the grooves. And now that's potentially a problem. This Garen is getting stronger. He's getting tankier. Look at those stats. It's meaning that he's got more health, more armor, more magic resist, all the things we talked about in the pregame. And if he's able to silence ICB as soon as he gets in the middle of the fight, that's what you're looking for. You want to keep your eye on how Grooves peels for his backline. And when we say that, meaning can he keep the Hecarim, can he keep the Pony away from his carries, away from the rest of his teammates? Because if he can, that is New Valley's way back into this game. If you're HBA, you are looking to support your main man right there. Is now instead, it is up in the top side. Grooves does pop it in. It's a forced ultimate in the Mordekaiser Shadow Realm, one-on-one, but instead as soon as they come out, they're ready. The team is there and ready to support, and now it's a 3v5 up in the top side.
This is going to go from bad from worst for HBA. These death timers, they're kind of staggering, meaning you'll never have all 5 people up at the same time. And because of that, New Valley, they see that they have the numbers advantage for at least the next 40 seconds. They want to try to get this objective. ICB obviously still has the ultimate, can charge in without being interrupted. Is it going to happen?
Oh, yep. So they burn it, they take it, and for the first time all game, New Valley does take the gold advantage into their hands. They're all going to try to get out of here. Oh, no. Turtle. Not like this, Turtle. Oh, no. As everyone goes immediately back, Turtle was just a split second late, and it means ICB gets to pick up his counterpart in the jungle there. Waited for everyone else to go home and gangs up on him on the retreat. But now, all right, with the Baron Guard, Dawn from 1, the rest of the team still has it. But Dragon, the all-important Infernal Soul on the table, and Turtle doesn't spawn for another 20 seconds.
Turtle will not be up for this objective. Dragons are very, very tanky, though. It does not matter how much damage you have. New Valley are going to have inroads into this objective if they want to contest it, and they do. Mordekaiser from wrapping from around. They're going to get pincered here. Hecarim charging in.
Oh, great Emperor's Divide there. It pushes ICB back. Yes, he does get onto the Azir right away. Now he's onto the Jhin. Insane Wrath needs to get out of there. They're going to try to support him from the backside, but meanwhile on the bottom, watch Grooves there. He's trying to force it out onto the back line. He's not able to get it, and it means HBA picks up 2, make it 3, and now they get the Infernal Soul.
They get it all, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the full Dragon stack. And the Mordekaiser finally getting that killing blow onto that Garen, doing him a little bit of justice. You can see the big plus 1,000 gold show up on your screen, and that is going to be a big swing of power going onto the side of HBA. 4 Barons now offline. Only Honu with the last one. He can't really do much, though. He is the support like we've been saying, and there he goes.
They're just going to dive him. Yep, there it goes. Last Baron buff off the table as you say it. But, I mean, you got to wonder about that one, right? New Valley, was that the mistake? Was the Infernal Soul worth it for you to lose all of your Baron buffs? You know, could they have gotten more towers? Could they have been able to push their lead, or rather use what tools they had on other sides of the map in order to gain an advantage instead of giving over the soul and all of those kills, all of that gold? Because as we talked about it, the initial swing, the initial advantage that came to the side of New Valley from taking the Baron buff initially immediately wiped away after that team fight.
Gold is nothing without spending it. You could see the entire team recalling on the side of White Baptist Academy. They're going to cash in those checks and really spend their last amounts of gold. This is probably going to be a final push that they're going to be looking towards to take out New Valley's Nexus. And New Valley, they've been keeping it close. It's 33 minutes in. Every objective, every team fight that has happened, they've been losing a little bit more and more, but 4K is not something that is impossible to come back from. It's going to take a little bit of team fight prowess, but they are more than capable of coming back into the game if necessary. It looks like HBA are starting to wrap around that bot side, trying to catch New Valley off guard, but both teams are grouping as 5. They have clear objectives they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, and look at this, right? What you would call the goon squad. As New Valley rolls around as all 5 members of the team. Here comes ICB, though, sees his opportunity onto Insane Wrath, wants to get it, wants to take the Jin out, but instead Grooves is there. They're going to try to back up and support him, but they're not able to do it. Meanwhile, on the left side, Turtle gets to the back line, but not able to get the kill there either as well. Now it's just Crystallize and Grooves trying to fight out onto the Hecarim. They will get the shutdown, so it's 1,000 gold over to the Garen. But meanwhile, on the left side, it's the Lilia trying to get out of dodge as the rest of the fight plays out. He's going to get dropped to the Mordekaiser as we go back to the other side of the fight, and that means the rest of the team does back it up for now. 2 for 3, but if you're New Valley, you take that trade knowing that you, with the gold being as it is, oh, maybe I've spoken too soon, they're going to have to just back it up. Yep, they get out of there for now. But overall, New Valley, they're happy with that trade.
I think if you're playing Dark Souls here, you would say raid boss down. The Hecarim is now offline. 3 for 2, but you take it like you said. You definitely want to just reset here, calm down the map, make sure nothing else goes too haywire. Like you said, New Valley have to be happy with that exchange. We were talking about 4K early. It has now shrunken down to 3.5. Even though 1 extra person died on their side, that just shows how much value this Hecarim has. If you're able to take the Hecarim down, it's easy pickings for you for the rest of the fight. I do want to point out, the Hecarim has built Jack Shows, one of the newest items in the preseason. That makes the Hecarim tankier throughout the fight, meaning the Hecarim is the squishiest at the beginning. If you can take ICB down from the get-go, the rest of the fight, there's not really a front line. It's just 3 people with long range that can easily get jumped on. That can change a fight tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely it could, and now we'll see it here as they're regrouping up again for another team fight. But is ICB going to go in? Yes, he does. He goes for it onto the Xerath, trying to get some damage down. But remember, the rest of the team is not in range just quite yet. ICB alone means he's going to get down. Mokuzu gets slowed up, and this could be a trouble. One more shot will get a lot of damage across. No, they're not able to do it. Minions take a turret in the bottom side, gets them a little bit more gold, but instead the Lilia gets dropped. Encore charms them up, but they're going to root up onto the Veigar there in the mid side. They don't get anything else just quite yet, but that is, again, raid boss down. 1-4-2 trade. The Mordekaiser still pushing up on the top side, but it's instantly responded to by a teleport from Crystallize.
It was so touch and go. You could see the long range keeping people at base. Very, very careful on both sides. Gru's XB4 still had the ultimate. The curtain call shot actually killed the Hecarim, and you can see that squishiness happening over and over again. Ravenous Hydra, the first item that ICB built, has stacks to that mechanic that every time you die, you lose half of those stacks. So each time he has been getting less and less physical damage, but also lifesteal, making him squishier.
Dry Puffin takes a lot of damage there. It's a Dark Harvest stack over to the Jin, but meanwhile the rest of the squad has to back it up for now. They're not able to do much quite yet there, but they are going to have to figure out where they're going from here. 2,000 gold, all that separates them. Still anybody's game, really. That's a huge root from the Jin. Mokuzu has to drop the Event Horizon and push them all back. They're going to root up onto Honu Warrior, but Grooves is here, looking for the damage in front, wants the front line for his team. Turtle there on the side as well, looking for an entrance. Another root, more damage. They're trying to poke. This is what the composition from New Valley wants to do. They get a stun onto the Jin. Insane, big damage there coming out from the Veigar, and that might just be the go button for the side of HBA to start the Baron.
The Blast Cone is available for the Lilia to jump into the pit. Garen is going to be charging in first. Shuffling the sands, not going to work out for the Azir. Not a lot of avenues left to go in. Crystallize is going to be caged and taken down. 2K is the Baron.
It's stolen! They get it! They're going to get in, but now the team fight, is that enough? They get the steal, and they're going to have to get out of there now. They don't have time to sit around here. They're going to lose Honu Warrior as well. Grooves and the Jin gets out of there with the Baron buff for now. Is that enough? That's the question. But with the Elder Dragon up, 38 minutes on the clock, they've got two options. HBA needs to make the decision. Are they going for the finish, or are they going for the Dragon?
They may not even need the Elder Dragon. It's 2v5. I think they are going to choose to take it, get that execute. It helps out with the Garen a lot, like you said, building those defenses. But if he goes below 20% HP, it's not going to matter. They're not going to have a smite to contest it. So New Valley, they're going to have to just push out these Baron waves and prepare for the push in the future. HBA, they have the Infernal Soul. They have this Elder Dragon. Garen trying to look to test, but it's not going to matter. That's going to be Elder falling on the side of Hawaii Baptist Academy.
Yeah, both major buffs in pocket. They are looking strong. Groups wants to go for the 1v1, expecting that the rest of the team is backed up. But this is a dangerous time to be looking for any of these fights. With the strength that HBA has, the next 2 minutes on the clock are going to be absolutely terrifying if you're on the side of New Valley. One big team fight, one lost team fight here could be in trouble. Yes, Inkseen is still wearing the Baron buff. On the other side, though, Elder Dragon buff means that if you get low, if you get below that threshold, it is an automatic execute. It does not matter. You will go down. And honestly, it is a tough spot to be in. New Valley, once again, grouping up together, staying as 5, trying to force HBA to come to them, to fight on their terms. But HBA, they might not even care about this. They're actually just staying mid. I don't know if this is a mistake. A base race at this stage when New Valley has the Baron, they gotta back, they gotta respond.
They have to back. They cannot outpush the Baron. Baron helps with sieging. Elder helps with fighting. They're going to get an inhibitor off of this. Are they going to fight in the base? Look at the Hecarim. He's so fast.
Oh my god, Jin is gone. ICB just deletes him 100-0, and that stops that push. Cole.
The Mordekaiser did it back. He's still pushing now. New Valley, they have to address the situation. Teleport being expended by Crystallize. Oh no, that was the Garen.
Garen's actually fighting him in mid right now. Garen's fighting him in mid. Okay, he has to back it up. But yeah, Grooves is strong enough that he's able to respond. But knowing that, the rest of the team now doesn't have any other way to kind of stop this yet, right? They don't have a way to stop ICB from getting to the backline. They can only hope to just disrupt him after he's gone in. So now they really need to figure out, are they fighting under inhibitor turret here, even though they don't have Jin, or are they going to have to wait and give it up at the, or fight at the Nexus? It looks like the decision's being made for them. ICB's in, looking for damage, wants to execute Honu, not able to get it yet. Encore goes wide, but it doesn't matter. They've already picked up Turtle. They've got the Azir. Crystallize is gone. Grooves in the front, trying to hold the line, hold it down. But what can one Garen do? It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. HBA, they take game number 1. They move to match point, and they take it over from New Valley.
It was shaky from time to time, but they're able to close it out, and that's all that matters. Now, match point for HBA. They have the first Nexus to their name. GG's to them.
GG's indeed. What a game. What a match.